Hello and welcome to Doctor's Corner. I'm Eldon Dahl, and today we're going to talk about a very important gland in our body. You'll all be associated with the actions this gland does, but you may not know of how important this gland really is and how short supply it is in the human body. The product we're going to talk about today is adrenal gland. Now, adrenal gland, you probably know some of the functions, how important it is, but maybe you don't. So we're going to consider that you don't know anything about your adrenal glands. Now, your adrenal glands are sitting on top of your kidneys, and you have two of them. Now, I'd like to say that they look like this fellow, our superhero, but they don't have the lightning bolt. But the lightning bolt is because it produces energy in the body. Now, what they look more like is this diagram. Now, this diagram shows that it has two main components. And the two main components are your medulla and your cortex. Now, here is the importance of these glands and how they work in your body. I'll just read you some of the features so I'm not forgetting, because it's important to know. So what they do is they produce several hormones, and they get their direction from the hypothalamus. Now, the hypothalamus sits on top of your pituitary gland. Now, I'll go into a chart and explain how this interrelates, but for right now, we're going to talk about the pituitary gland is your master gland, and it controls several hormones. And so this includes both your thyroid and adrenal. Now, when you heard the video we did on thyroidine, you can see how thyroidine interrelates with your adrenal glands. They need each other. They support. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how they control your thyroid, adrenal, your ovaries, your testes, and we're going to go into that chart and show that in a minute. There's two zones. Now, we showed there's the medulla. There's the medulla. And there's the cortex. And they each secrete certain hormones. The main hormones are adrenaline and noradrenaline. And the main hormone produced is cortisol. Now, cortisol helps for so many things. I would like to read these so that you can understand what it really helps for. It controls your blood sugar levels, regulates your metabolism, helps reduce inflammation, assists in memory formation. Where are those keys? And in times of stress, it helps your body to get energy boost better and to handle emergency situations. Now, you know the stress situation where you fight or flight, that's the thing. So when you see people doing abnormal things with their strength, they see somebody trapped in a car and somehow they just got this energy and they can open the door. It's your adrenals pushing overtime. And so what they can also do is control your sleep-wake cycle. So your circadian clock, very, very important. But our adrenals also control our salt and water balance and helps with blood pressure. We're going to get into that on our label claim because that's very, very important. And so you've probably heard the term adrenal fatigue or adrenal insufficiency. And these are interrelated with autoimmune disorders. So autoimmune disorders are fungal issues and other infections and cancer. What the studies show is rarely, but this isn't true. Autoimmune affects several, cancer, AIDS, MS. There's several diseases that are affected by autoimmune disorder and thyroid disease, Hashimoto's disease, and genetic factors. So we can see now that there are a lot of actions that are happening because of this adrenal gland. Now, the adrenal gland, I'm going to put this chart up on the video when you listen, but the adrenal gland, you can see the interaction of the glands and how they function. So this will make more sense when you see the chart in front of you. So the pituitary gland is your master. It sits on the top. Regulated by your hypothalamus, it sits there. It says it starts sending signals to your pituitary, which releases growth hormone in your interior pituitary. Now what that does, it's related and interrelated to your thyroid, and your thyroid to your adrenal, and then all together with your ovaries and testes, so your sex hormones. So you can see how very, very integral part your adrenal glands work. Now when you feel sometimes that you're really depressed or stressed, it's your adrenals. And when your thyroid is out of balance, which so many people have hypothyroidism today, they have hypothyroidism, and that's low functioning of the thyroid gland. Now, when the thyroid is low functioning, it calls out and waits for the signal from the hypothalamus to stimulate the pituitary, which stimulates your adrenals, and you to say, hey, we need some thyroxine sent up to the thyroid gland. And when the adrenals are in a state of fatigue, they're insufficiently producing the cortisol. What they do then is they produce adrenaline. And the adrenaline is stress. And the stress that they produce sends a signal. And when the thyroid isn't getting what it wants, because it doesn't get the hormones that it needs, your T3 or T4 stimulation, it will signal again to your adrenals, which are already in the fatigue. So it produces more stress in your body. Now, stress, when it comes into your body, it lowers the ratio of progesterone. So this is how it affects your ovaries and testes in males and females. And why it's so important. And why the adrenals, when they're not producing enough, while your thyroid is in balance, this is where you get your cold extremities. This is when you get depression. This is, like we said, the function of the adrenal glands is for memory. And one other thing about blood pressure. Now, you're going to notice on our label that it says that the warning is not to be used if you have high blood pressure. That's Health Canada said, and that they have reason to believe, because drugs that are produced today to stimulate the adrenal glands, they are not totally balanced. And so what they do is they just stimulate it to a certain point, and they do raise your blood pressure. But we found that people are taking the adrenal with the thyroidine, and what we're seeing is that their blood pressure, which was at levels where they needed to be medicated, came completely normal after 3 months. I would consult your medical doctor or your health practitioner on this before taking adrenals if you have high blood pressure. But one of the great side effects will be that you'll see your blood pressure will start to lower. And one other thing that adrenal glands are great for, like if you reach down and you get up and you start to get a little lightheaded, it's your adrenal glands aren't functioning. When I take adrenal glands, I take 2 every morning with breakfast. I just love it because it just gives me a boost. And when people you see and they're tired in the afternoon, what do they reach for? They're reaching for coffee or one of these booster drinks. And does that give you your energy? Does that restore your adrenals? No, it doesn't. It just gives you a slight bump. Well, our adrenal glands are produced and sourced from bovine, from New Zealand, grass-fed, no hormones, no antibiotics. It's the pure gland without the sex hormones, but it does so very, very much. Try it. You'll see the energy, and then you'll be supporting your other endocrine glands. So for Doctor's Corner, I'm Eldon Dahl, and have a good day.